So, the college football playoff just wrapped up, and Fernando Mendoza is your national champion. The Raiders had their entire brass there watching him play. John Spytech, Tom Brady, and Mark Davis all in attendance. This wasn't some subtle scouting trip, you know? They made it pretty clear what they were doing. I'm going to break down what Mendoza showed in that championship game, why this whole thing feels more like a confirmation than a discovery, and what it means for the Raiders moving forward. Thus, we're diving into the coaching carousel because things have shifted big time since we last talked about it. What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Raiders. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the Raiders. All right, so Fernando Mendoza just won the national championship. Pretty crazy to see that, honestly. And the Raiders, well, they didn't try to hide anything. The entire organization was there watching him play against Miami. That's not exactly a subtle look, right? So let me get into what I saw from him in this game and throughout the playoff run. First off, the game didn't start great for him. Miami's defense was absolutely blasting him early on. That defensive front is unreal, and Ribbon Bain Jr. was just causing havoc all game long. But here's the thing that stood out to me. Mendoza just kept coming back. He had a bloody lip at one point, getting hit over and over, and he just kept throwing punches. We saw this against Ohio State, too, where he got drilled but just responded. Social media is going to love that toughness. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was a perfect performance, because it wasn't. He struggled against some of their blitzes, and Mario Cristobal really did a good job scheming things up defensively. They fooled the offensive line into a lot of one-on-one situations with guys like Ruben Bain, and you're not winning those battles too often. So yeah, he had some issues there. Here's what impressed me most, though. Mendoza didn't make the moment too big. He just managed the game really well against a tough defense that was hitting him constantly. The stats aren't going to jump off the page or anything, but he played smart football. He didn't panic in the face of all that pressure. He's just processing everything like a supercomputer, delivering the ball where it needs to go time after time. And this was the toughest test he faced. It was the national championship game, so you feel the automatic pressure at this level. But apart from that pressure, Miami's front seven was taking advantage of Indiana's offensive line for a good portion of that game. But Mendoza just took what the defense gave him. We saw a lot of off coverage, and he hit his receivers when the opportunity was there. He wasn't trying to do too much or force anything just because it was the national championship and all the Raiders brass was watching. He just played his game, stayed even-keeled, and that's really impressive for a quarterback in that moment. And let's go back to that fourth down run for the touchdown. Basically, it was 4th down and 4 from the Miami 12-yard line. This play was a gutsy call by Coach Curt Cignetti, who initially had the field goal unit out before calling a timeout and putting the offense back on the field. Mendoza's 12-yard run broke multiple tackles before he dived into the end zone and extended Indiana's lead to 24-14. Cignetti basically said to the world, "Hey, I've got the Heisman winner, the best dude on the field. Let him go make a play." That shows you the trust the coach has in him as well as the coach trusts himself. Now, I want to talk about something people keep bringing up, the whole shotgun quarterback thing. Some folks are saying his game won't translate to the NFL because Indiana runs so many RPOs. And yeah, they do run a ton of RPOs. In fact, I noticed they were running RPO after RPO, especially in the first half of this game. But here's the deal. In the NFL, RPOs have been running at their lowest rate since 2019. Last season, they only ran on about 8% of snaps, so I get why people are concerned about the transition. But honestly, even when those RPOs are called, he's so quick to move through his reads and deliver the ball. He always seems to take what the defense gives him. To me, he's got some Brock Purdy in him in terms of how he processes information. Obviously the grittiness too, but mainly that processor aspect. He can make all the throws you need at the NFL level, and he processes information so well. You pair a guy like that with Tom Brady constantly in his ear, I don't see why his game wouldn't translate. Okay, now let me just put this out there. I'm doing this whole thing assuming Fernando Mendoza is the pick. There's obviously a lot that has to happen between now and draft day, but that's what it's looking like. Last I saw, he's minus 7,000 to go number 1 overall to the Raiders. I don't know how the Raiders could sit there after watching a game like this and say, no, he's not our guy. Now, there's been some rumors floating around about a Lamar Jackson trade. Let me be real with you. That has absolutely zero chance of happening. Zero. Lamar has like a $50 million cap hit next year. You make that move if you're a quarterback away from going to the Super Bowl. The Raiders aren't in that situation right now. John Spytech said it himself in the postseason press conference. They know they have a mountain to climb, and they don't want to do it in a day. He mentioned that 10 wins next season would be huge, but they're not aiming for that because they want to build this thing the right way. And I don't think the Ravens are also thinking about this. Look, they have fired their head coach after 18 years, and insiders say that because he was not on the same page with the Jackson and team. So if they wanted to trade Jackson, they wouldn't fire their head coach. Now, let's get into the coaching situation because things have definitely changed. Mike McDaniel is emerging as a really interesting name to watch. The Raiders met with him while they were in Miami, and I think that's a guy they need to be taking a serious look at. Yeah, 2025 was a down year for him in that Dolphins offense, but what this guy's done as a play caller and offensive mind is pretty unreal. Tua regressed this year, but they also dealt with a lot of injuries to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They finished 25th in EPA per play this year, which is a big step back. But from 2022 to 2025, including that bad year, they were 12th in the NFL in EPA per play. That's impressive, even with such a down year mixed in. In 2023, they averaged over 400 yards per game with him calling the shots. And after starting 1-6 this season, they went 6-4 to finish the year. His team didn't give up on him. He got Tua to a Pro Bowl in 2023 and helped him finish with a passer rating of 100 or more in 3 seasons. Now imagine what he could do hand-picking his quarterback with a guy like Fernando Mendoza, who is a master processor. McDaniel is an elite offensive innovator. He takes stuff from the college game, remixes old ideas, adds new wrinkles. Remember when he dropped 70 on the Broncos? This is a guy who can stay ahead of the curve. In a new spot with new players, it could be a good change of pace for him. The Raiders have a lot to fix. It's not going to be an overnight thing, but in year 2 or 3 after rebuilding this roster, it'd be really interesting to see what he could do with Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer using those 12 personnel sets. The Shanahan and McVay coaching tree uses a lot of big-bodied sets. The Rams use 13 personnel at a crazy rate, and San Francisco runs a lot of 22 personnel with those 2-back sets. The Raiders are set up for that. Miami's offense was built around getting the ball out quickly and delivering to playmakers in space. That's exactly what the Raiders need. And here's the thing, Miami's offensive line was really bad, but his scheme was able to hide that. They were still effective in their running game. The Raiders' offensive line situation isn't great either, so getting a play caller who can maybe overcome some of those issues as that group develops would be huge. So, the bottom line is Fernando Mendoza showed he can handle the big moment. He's tough, he processes the game at an elite level, and he's got that killer instinct. The Raiders just need to pair him with the right coach, and in my opinion, McDaniel is the right guy.